Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Canvas Program Scheduling webinar. My name is Nate Erzman, and I am the Technical Program Manager for the Societies. To let you know on the front end, this training will be recorded and posted for those who are not able to join us today. There's a good amount of people on, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And since this is going to be a larger group, we will start with all audience members on mute for now. So first things first, I'd like to reassure our first-time schedulers in the audience. We will be covering quite a bit of information in the next hour. And the system can feel intimidating if you've never used it before, but there's really nothing to fear. There's no mistake that you can make in this process that I can't help you correct as we go along. So never be afraid to ask a question or make a mistake. I'm here to support you in the scheduling request process every step of the way. All right, so our plan for this afternoon. I will go through the scheduling process first and then take questions at the end. So please be sure to jot down your questions as we go. Also, if I go over something too quickly or you're not able to stay for questions at the end, don't worry. The webinar recording will be made available for you to review shortly. So, as you know, abstract submissions are now closed, and you'll have the next couple weeks to schedule your sessions. You received 2 attachments in the invitation email I sent titled Scheduling in Convex and Important Scheduling Tips. We'll take a look at those here. So we've got Scheduling in Convex step by step, and then Important Scheduling Tips. And what we'll do is we'll get started with the step-by-step directions first and just go over what we're going to be doing today. So we will have you accept abstracts. We really don't reject abstracts, and this is a basic philosophy of the societies. We're here to help people build their environmental science careers from the ground up. So this is how they get their stepping stones to get started. So if something doesn't necessarily fit your session, we can move it to a different format or a different session, but for that reason, we don't necessarily reject them. And if you have any troubles with that, you can always reach out to me and we'll find it a new home. We will be adding non-paper events such as intro remarks, adjourns, breaks, panel discussions, roundtables, things of that nature. We will arrange the speakers in the order that you would like them in, as well as assign times to those speakers. And that could be in several different ways. You're probably used to a regular topical oral session where the speakers are 15 minutes per slot. We'll be building a rapid session today, and that's where there's 5-minute presentations with a corresponding poster session later on that same afternoon. You could also be building a symposia, and that's your elite, best of the best speakers, and those are 2-hour maximum times for those sessions. So that tends to be 4 speakers at 30 minutes a piece, or 3 speakers at 40 minutes, giving them time to impart their wisdom. So there's different ways to assign times. We'll also have you schedule the time, date, estimated attendance, catering, AV, room set for your session, and then finally have you add moderators to all your in-person oral sessions. So right out of the gate, we've got to get you into the system, get you into Convex, and that's what this gateway link is right here. And when you click on that gateway, it's going to ask you to log in, and you'll see your email address and your password, and that's going to be the same thing that you normally do when logging in with your member login. It's exactly the same. But once you log in there, it's going to take you to a different view that looks like this, and you'll see the Canvas header at the top, Portland, Oregon. You'll see your name in the corner. And this is your gateway dashboard. Now, I have a lot of hats, obviously, and you might too. So depending on what you click and unclick, it can kind of help you work with what you want to work with. These are dynamic. And if you are, let's say you're a program chair, ASA section chair, or a crops and soils division chair, you're going to have an additional layer right here, this program chair header, and you can click on your session or on your program. And so let's just take a look at agronomic production systems. APS is one of our larger groups. And so you can see they have quite a few sessions going on here, right? So obviously the section chair didn't set all those up. There are communities within and other organizers that are setting up all of these sessions that still need to be looked through, still need to be scheduled. So another way to break down further is to go to the communities area and click arrange here. And then you can see that within APS, they have 12 communities. But we can drill down even further. Let's go see what applied wheat has going on. And then we can see with their arrange view that they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions that they're working through. So if you are a chair that's in a bigger section or division, this is a good way to kind of travel up and down the selection tree and just make sure that everybody's doing what they need to be doing and checking in on them, seeing if they're having any trouble with their scheduling. And it's just a nice way to manage up and down. Now, most of us, however, are not program chairs and are probably looking just to schedule a session or two. And for that, you would scroll all the way down to the bottom to the session organizer header, and you could look for your session. Well, lo and behold, we needed a test session and we have one. So we'll go ahead and click on test session for scheduling training purposes. And that's going to give me a view that looks something like this. And this is very much your home screen. If you ever get lost in the process or you're like, wow, I don't even know where I am anymore, you can always come to your abstracts area and click on this arrange link. This is kind of your refresh or brings you back to home. It'll always bring you back here. So that's a good button to have. So at this point, we've now selected our session and we need to start looking at the abstracts. And you can do that by clicking into each one of these abstracts. Let's pretend that I like all of them. I've clicked into them. I think they're great. And at this point, I need to accept those abstracts. That's what this column is right here, accept. And I can go through and click 1, 2, 3 all the way down. But I like all of them. So I could simply click all, it would fill it in. I could clear it out with none, but I do like all of them. So we're going to click all and then come down here to your update button. Now your update button is your save button. If you ever find yourself going through step after step and you're like, man, this isn't taking, like I'm doing it, but it doesn't seem to be saving. It might be that you just didn't scroll to the bottom and click update. So make sure that you're clicking update often. And then at this point, we see that our purple abstracts have turned green, and that means that they've gone from ungraded to accepted. There's a little A in the column there as well. And so that is great. We now have accepted abstracts. At this point, we now need to add what's called non-paper events. And a non-paper event is simply anything that needs to be in your session, but it's not a presentation. So if you click into non-paper events, we can see here that we have some pre-populated options as well as freeform. You can add any sort of freeform in as you wish, as you need. We are creating a rapid oral today because I figure if you can create a rapid oral, you can really do anything. You can make a regular topical oral, a poster session, a symposium session. Any of those are kind of easier. So we're going to do the weirdest, the hardest today, and that'll just set you up for success for the rest of them. All orals need intro remarks and adjourn. And these are nice bookends for the system. It tells the system this is when the session starts and when it ends. So because we have an oral, we're going to put those in there. We're going to put in a break. Probably wouldn't for this particular session, but for training purposes, we're going to have a break today, and then put in discussion. Now, let's talk a little bit about breaks since this is where we would add in those breaks. And so just globally looking at it, let's just talk about symposia first because they're a little different. Since symposia are a maximum of 2 hours, you really won't need to add breaks within a symposia session. Folks can generally last for those 2 hours, no big deal. However, topical sessions, they don't have any sort of time limit. So they're going to need a break every 15 minutes or every 6 presentations. Rapid sessions like we're building today naturally fit themselves into 1 hour increments. So a 15-minute break after 2 hours of rapids is generally encouraged. So what that would look like in our situation is we would have 10 rapids. They're each 5 minutes, right? So that's 50 minutes of content. And then we need a talk back time, and that would be a question and answer time. Let's go ahead and add that in here. Questions and answers, and that's going to be 10 minutes. So how that would work is 50 minutes of presentations and then 10 minutes of question and answer, which allows the audience some feedback, but it's also a nice buffer time. If you got off track, you can cut that a little short and then start the next set on time. So you do that twice, 50 minutes, 10 minutes, another 50 minutes, another 10 minutes, and then you would add in a break. And then you could continue on with however many rapids you have left. So that is a little bit on how breaks work. Also, while I'm here, a quick little tip to my ASA folks, please don't put in a community planning session as a non-paper event or as a free form event in the non-paper event. And the reason for that is the platform can search by section, division, community. It can by presenters, anything that you build that way. But when it gets down into the non-paper events, it can't search for that. So you basically created a needle in a haystack. And if somebody wants to come to your planning session, they won't be able to find it to add it to their personal schedule. So instead of that, you would go to your community area here. And let's talk about them first real quick, what they are and then how to schedule them. So ASA communities are encouraged to hold planning sessions instead of business meetings at Canvas. And this is just a 15-minute time slot scheduled into the beginning or the end of a symposium or your most important technical session. The planning sessions themselves are really just for two purposes: to elect future community leaders, and then to decide the topics for your community's program next year, what you want to do for Columbus 2027. Community updates and awards, however, those are next level up. You would present those at your section's business meeting. And that increases awareness among the communities, what they're doing with each other. And then it gives your award recipients much greater exposure at that next level up, which of course they appreciate. So you'll just want to consider which of your symposia or technical sessions would most effectively host your community's planning session. And so looking at Applied Wheat right here, you'll see that there is a community planning session right here. I set that up for all of your communities way back in February. So you would just open that session, you'd schedule it directly before your most important session oral wise. So, they do have an oral, they do have a rapid, but probably their biggest attendance is going to be at that symposium. So you would schedule it right before your symposium, no breaks, or you would do your symposium, no breaks, straight into that 15-minute planning session. You've got a captive audience and you can just get it done from there. So that is how you would schedule your community planning sessions. Going the next level up to my ASA section chairs, to accommodate community awards and news, sections with a lot of communities may need to schedule their business meetings for longer than that traditional single hour. You might need an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. You just want to reach out to those community leaders and ask them how much content they have, and then you can plan your division meeting, your business meeting accordingly. So that is, so that's the ASAs. And we will go back to our session here. And this looks good. We've got our intro, our adjourn, our break, our discussion, our Q&A. We don't have a planning session in there, which is correct. And we'll go ahead and click update to make sure that it saves. Perfect. Now we're coming through and we need to make sure that the order of everything looks correct. So our intro remarks are at the beginning. That's perfect. But as I'm scanning down through, I realize that my abstracts are not in the order I want them in. Actually, they're in backwards. So intro remarks at the number 1 spot, that's perfect. We want to come down here and get our next one though, and let's turn that to 2 and 3. And we'll just work our way through this. And so in this way, you can look through your abstracts and you can create whatever order or whatever flow you feel fits best for the topics that you have. 10 and 11. And then we want to make sure that we come down and click update so that it saves. And then, this looks way better. My intro remarks, my abstracts are in the order I want them in, but here's a problem. We've got question and answer after adjourn. That's a problem. So pro tip, you can use decimal points. That way you don't have to reorder everything after it. I want my Q&A right after abstract 10, right? That buffering time. So I would actually want that between 11 and 12. Let's go 11.5 here. We'll click update and take a look at it. There we are. Our Q&A is in the right spot without having to reorder everything that came after it. So that is perfect. That gives us the order that we want. And at this point, we need to start looking at speaker durations. Now, speaker durations, by default, are 15 minutes up here. Even if this is blank, it's still 15 minutes. Every one of these line items are running behind the scenes at 15 minutes a pop. For our intro remarks, we can give a special duration of 5 minutes, and then we would just keep moving on. All intros are 5, but here's the thing. As I make these rapids, they're all 5, right? 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Let's just go ahead and change our default duration to 5. Come down and save it. Perfect. Now, every line item behind the scenes is running at 5 minutes a piece. And that's great. That helps most of our session. Question and answer, again, that's that 10-minute buffer time, so we'll add that in. Breaks are always 15 minutes, so we'll do that. Discussion time, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be an amazing session, lots of participation. Let's give them 20 minutes to talk it out. And then adjourn. Adjourning is a little different because it doesn't take a minute. It's just a moment in time, right? So that's what this column up here, this no duration column is for. Go ahead and click on that checkbox, and that tells the system this is important. It needs to be in the session. It just doesn't take any time. And we'll go ahead and click update. Nice. There we go. Now we have everything the way that we want it to be as far as our durations. Very good. Now at this point, before we move forward with scheduling our sessions, we need to take a look at the logistics tab. This needs to be completed, otherwise we'll get an error message. So we got to go through logistics, go ahead and click on that. And that's going to set us up with our room setup. It's going to be our AV or presentation equipment, our Zoom broadcasting, and our catering. So this is where you would set up something like a classroom set or crescent, banquet. If it's anything beyond theater, this would be where you would set it differently. We're going to have a very normal rapid session, so I'm just going to leave it at theater. But if you wanted it to be crescent or banquet, this is where you would click it. Sam would reach out to you, let you know if there's any sort of fee for flipping the room. Sometimes if you're moving from theater to, say, classroom, then the convention center staff has to change that for you and it costs a little extra. But she would reach out to you at that time and let you know. We're going to leave ours on theater. And then we're going to come down here to our AV or our presentation equipment for the room. Now, all oral rooms have a standard set, and that includes a screen, projector, AV cart, laptop, audio speaker, a wired podium microphone for your speakers, all the audio connections that are needed for that audio, and then a wireless mic and a microphone stand, and that's for your audience mic so that they can ask their questions and those can be captured within the platform. If you wanted anything beyond that standard set, then you could go ahead and click on this and add in anything that you were interested in. Again, Sam would reach out to you and talk to you about your program enhancement funds and get those held to the side. I like the free set for this one, so I'm going to go ahead and stay with the free set and come down to Zoom broadcasting. Now, Zoom broadcasting, any one of your sessions can be Zoom broadcasted. It costs $300 per session, and it has to be requested by October 1st. So the way that this works is you as the session organizer have to assign a Zoom proficient moderator who will be on site in that room, and they're going to use their own external devices, their own laptop, tablet, smartphone, and they're going to be monitoring the Zoom once that meeting control has been passed on to them by the support tech. The support tech is a digital and one that's remotely working through, and so what they'll do is they'll get you set up and steadily on your way, but then at that point they have to go and set somebody else's up. So they won't be with you the whole time. They'll just pass that control on to your moderator. That tech can be brought back in if there's a snag, but then of course they have to go back into the digital hallway, as it were, and continue helping other folks get started. So that's how that works. The standard audio equipment is provided for the in-person and virtual audiences. You don't need to worry about that at all. That's all set. And then as far as how the virtual attendees interact, they'll use the chat feature to communicate with that moderator that you have in the room. The moderator will convey their questions to the speaker will answer them, and that's how they interact. The virtual attendees see the in-person speaker's slides and they hear their audio, but they don't have a webcam view of the presenter. If you've ever gone back to any one of our historical platforms, gone to an oral, clicked on the recording, that's very much what you see. You see their slides, you hear their voice, but you don't see a webcam view of them. And that's very much how it is for the virtual attendees, except that it is live. And then note, if you can't assign moderators proficient in Zoom, you'll have to hire a dedicated room tech, and that's quite a bit more, $1,600 per session, but they will digitally be with you from beginning to end. It will be a flawless Zoom meeting. It's just, it costs more, and then and it has to be requested by August 14th, and it takes a couple weeks prior planning to work out all the kinks on that. If you decide that you do want to have a broadcast, then you would just go ahead and click I agree to the costs, deadlines, volunteer moderator requirements necessary to broadcast the session. And then I would reach out with you, getting you all set up and getting the $300 set aside from your program enhancement funds. Again, I'm not going to do that for this particular session, but it is available. And then there is catering. Let's say I wanted to add some catering. So this is where you would add in any coffee, tea, granola bars, meals. This is where you would add that in and when you would like it to your room. And at this point, people stop me and they're like, Nate, those are those are some prices. Yes, they are. And sometimes they come to us and they're like, hey, can I just run to Costco and get some pizzas and some granola bars and bring it in? And the answer to that is no, you can't. The reason is that these prices, they are high, but it's the convention center and the headquarter hotel, they don't keep their doors open through property rentals or room rentals. You would think that, right? But it actually isn't that. It is their catering and it's their internet prices. So for those two items, they are rather expensive, but that's how they pay their people and it's how they keep their doors open. So for that reason, if we try to bring anything outside in, that cuts into their ability to stay in business. And so they slap us with a heavy penalty. So for that reason, we can't bring in outside food, and that is why those prices are so high. But don't let me scare you away. If you have program enhancement funds for that kind of thing, your attendees love that. It's so sweet. Go ahead and put in anything that you like. Sam will reach out to you. She's a wizard at stretching your program enhancement dollars to make sure you get as much as you can. Again, I'm not going to do that for this particular session, but now I have everything set where I'm sticking with theater, standard set, no Zoom broadcast, and no catering. I'm going to go ahead and click save. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and click arrange, right? Because it's kind of taking me to this admin view and I want to see where I'm at. Yeah, there we go. We're back to our home view here. And at this point, we can start scheduling the session itself. So that's going to be this link off to the corner here. When you click on it, there is going to be a pop-up box. So if you're a government employee or a university employee with a particularly stringent firewall, this may be one of those things where you'll have to reach out to your IT department and be like, hey, can you allow this? Or maybe you just have to take it home to your own private network, complete the step, this particular step there, and then continue on. But this is the one pop-up you'll encounter. We'll add in the date. I think this is going to be a great Wednesday session. Start time, first thing in the morning, let's go 8 a.m. End time, you know what, I wasn't really paying attention. How about I think it was 10. I think it would have ended at 10. And then we'll go to estimated attendance. Now, estimated attendance, it's very helpful if you can give us your most realistic estimated attendance. Sometimes folks try to put in 250. And the problem with that is we have over 400 oral sessions happening concurrently in 60 rooms over the course of 3.5 days. And so for that reason, it's very hard for 250 people to get anywhere. And so if you're looking for something that's a little more normal, 60. 60 is about right for estimated attendance. And what that does is if you can give us your most realistic attendance, then we're not putting you into too small of a room, right? We don't want standing room only. That's no fun. Conversely, we don't want to give you anything huge. We don't want a cavernous room in which you feel like nobody came and you're like, wow, that was a total failure. But it wasn't. You had 60 people. It was a smash success. So we want to make sure that we right size the room for you. And of course, it's a moving target. We have no real way of knowing how many people are going to show up until the day of and we see who fills the room. But we do want to try to set you up for success as much as possible. So again, your most realistic estimated attendance really helps everyone. And then I would have you come down to these two purple buttons, submit information, show all conflicts. Go ahead and click on show all conflicts. Again, it's talking about 400 plus oral sessions. There's no way there's no conflicts. There's going to be conflicts. This is more for what type of conflicts are there. So if you're looking in this and you're like, oh no, my most important invited speaker is double booked with some other organizer. That allows you to reach out to that other organizer and say, hey, can you move her to the very beginning of your session? I will move her presentation to the very end of mine, and then she'll be able to get across the convention center without running madly through it. So that it's just a really nice tool. Again, there will be conflicts, but you're just looking for the types of conflicts. I'm not seeing anything that's scaring me, so I'm going to go ahead and click submit information. And then I'm going to check, and sure enough, we have a Wednesday session, November 4th. 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We want to make sure that our start and end times are good. So 8 a.m., looking good. 10 a.m. stop time. Oh, I got a little excited. It's actually 9:40. No problem. I go back into my schedule and I change it from 10 to 9:40. Submit information again. There we are. 8 a.m., 9:40, 9:40. We're looking good. Okay. Now, at this point, I do have to order a quick public service announcement. Please note that the annual meeting planning committee will be finalizing the schedule in late August. You should not give your speakers a final date until that time. The reason I say this is it has happened in the past where people were like, yay, I did it. I finished all my scheduling. Bob, Sally, you are going to be on this day and at this time. And even though you're probably going to get 80–90% of the requested scheduling that you're requesting over the next couple of weeks. Again, there are so many sessions happening over the course of those 3.5 days that sometimes putting the puzzle together, things have to shift. So we have had people give that date and time too early, and then that very important invited speaker had to find out it's not the right time, it's not even the right day. You have to redo all of your travel arrangements, and that's just really bad customer service on our side. So for now, even though you'll probably get most of what you want, please don't tell anybody what you've done. I will reach out to all of your presenters in early September, letting them know when they can start making their travel plans. Okay. So at this point, we do have our scheduled session, but we've created an oral, and we have an organizer, but we don't have a moderator. And that'll be up here in the People tab. We do need a moderator for all in-person orals. So we're going to go ahead and click Add New Person. And I'm going to go ahead and look up Sam and drag her into this. Go ahead and look up by first name, last name, fragments of email addresses. The nice thing about the societies is that they've been around over 100 years. So odds are your person is probably in the database. So go ahead and check it out there first. We do have Sam. We're going to select her and put moderator. If you've looked up several different ways and it's not coming up with anything, then you can click can't find the person you're looking for, create an additional account for them. We just don't want to create duplicate accounts. It makes it hard for the system when people are trying to look that person up in Portland. It just confuses the system. So we want to make sure that we're not creating duplicate accounts if we can help it. And then I'm going to go ahead and click Add Selected Person. Nice. We've got Sam as the moderator, Nate as the organizer. We'll go back to our Arrange view. Very good. There we go. That is looking good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. At this point, people often say, well, Nate, that was super easy. Here's the thing, though. How do I find moderators in order to enter them? Good question. Approaching speakers that are already presenting within your session is low-hanging fruit. It's an easy way to start your moderator search. Most folks are like, yeah, I'm going to be there anyway. I would be happy to moderate the session for you. Also, student attendees are often honored to moderate a session or two. It's good networking. It's good experience for them. But by the end of scheduling, you will need a moderator entered for each in-person oral session. Not true for poster or virtual sessions. It's just your in-person orals that will need a moderator. All right, so let's take a look at this session again, and let's talk a little bit about transferring. So let's say I'm scrolling through and I'm like, this is good. This is, Here's the thing, Abstract 9, it's good. It's got good content. I really like where they're headed with it. I'm just not sure that it fits the flow of what I'm trying to build here. No problem. We go back up to the transfer column and we would just click on this little checkbox to the left of the title. And then we would come down to these no transfer boxes. And what they are, this one is programs, the subprograms. And you would click whatever subprogram you want. And then this next no transfer box will fill in the sessions within that program. So let's say C4 is what I think. I think that abstract would be a great seed physiology kind of presentation. Then this box is now filled in with all of the sessions within the C4 program. Lo and behold, I was building a rapid. They have a rapid. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and select that. The thing is, if I click update at this point, it's not going to ask me if I'm sure. It's not going to ask me if I talk to that organizer. It's just going to do it. It's going to send it right over. So for that reason, you want to make sure that you're reaching out to the session organizer or the chair to let them know and say, hey, are you okay if I send this over? And most of the time they're like, yes, thank you for letting me know. You want to do that because they may be done with their session scheduling and you've just launched a presentation into the ether of their program and they have no way of knowing that it's gotten there or that it needs attention, that it needs to be scheduled. So that is how you would do that. And you would probably want to know how to do that. Yes. So if you go to the Canvas site, this is the best way to contact those other organizers and chairs. If you scroll over the events tab and then come to the contact us link, that's where you're going to see this page right here. You can click on the section division chairs, community leaders. You can give them a jingle. You can drop them a line and just let them know, hey, I would like to transfer this over to you. Is that okay? And that is a great way of transferring. Important note on transferring, don't transfer submissions between in-person and virtual sessions or vice versa. Virtual submissions have different submission fees, registration requirements, and pre-recording deadlines. They're just a completely different animal altogether, and transferring them between in-person and virtual really messes with the presenting author. So you can transfer in-person to in-person and virtual to virtual, but just don't cross that line just to save a lot of headache for the presenting author. Yeah, and then let's talk about adding and withdrawing sessions. So let's say you have a fabulous problem where you have 64 abstracts in your session and you're bleeding into lunch, you're going into the evening, and you're like, I really need to break this up. No worries. If you are a section or division chair, you can go back to the same thing that you did way back in February. You can go to the sessions area and click add, and you can add in as many sessions as you like, same title, Roman numeral 2, 3, 4, however many you need, and then you can balance your presentations equally between them. If you're a community leader or an organizer, you may not have access to this. Go ahead and reach out to your chairs or to me. It's very easy for us to create those for you. We're happy to do that. We'll create whatever you need. And so that's how you would add a session. Let's say that the opposite is true, however. Let's say you only have a couple submissions. And for orals, you need at least an hour's worth of content to run it. So if there's only a couple or three, then you could transfer them out. And then basically what you're doing is backing everything down. You go to your non-paper events, clear them all out. You can go to your scheduling box again. You can unschedule right here. And then once everything is completely cleared out and you just have a shell of a session, that's when you can click on withdraw session. It'll ask you for a reason, and then it'll withdraw it for you. Sometimes people get a little nervous when they throw things away and they're like, I don't know if I can get it back. I don't know if I broke it, if I did it right. Don't worry. If you throw something away on accident, just let me know. I can bring back anything that you accidentally threw away and get that back up and running for you. So don't be afraid of that. And that is pretty much it for the step-by-steps. So let's transition right now over to our important scheduling tips that are specifically for Portland. So looking at the oral and poster scheduling times to avoid in Portland, the Sunday evening opening keynote starts at 5:30. Sessions can be scheduled on Sunday afternoon, but they just need to end by 5 for the keynote. Sometimes folks really like having Sunday afternoon sessions, especially if they have a jam-packed program and they're looking for a little extra space to plan their sessions. There's very little topical overlap, and so they get good attendance. Other folks are like, folks are still arriving on Sunday afternoon, and they feel like they're not going to get as good attendance for those Sunday afternoon sessions. But whether or not you decide to do them, please do end them at 5 so that people can get to the keynote. The morning plenaries are not protected time slots, but we like to let you know about them. Depending on which division, or actually which society you're under, you might want to schedule off of those times. So this year it's Crops Monday, Soils Tuesday, Agronomy Wednesday. So that's going to be Klepper, then Brady, then York. So let's say you are a soils organizer. Maybe you go ahead and start your sessions first thing in the morning, 8 a.m. Monday and Wednesday. But on Tuesday, you wait until 9 so that folks can get to the Brady lectureship. Same thing for crops. Crops can start as early as they want on Tuesday, Wednesday, but maybe they hold off until 9 o'clock on Monday, and so on. So again, it's not protected, but if you have the space for it, that's really nice to schedule off of those times. The Wednesday evening closing reception starts at 4:30, so please end all of your sessions by 4:30 so that people can get to the party. Let's look at oral scheduling hours. On Monday and Tuesday mornings, you can schedule your orals 8 a.m. to 12, and then in the afternoons, 1:30 to 4. There is a heavily protected lunch break on Monday and Tuesday from 12 to 1:30. If you bleed past 12, you will be backed up. If you start before 1:30, you'll be bumped. That's really, it comes from the attendees. They've asked that we protect that time because it's not just time for them to go get food and come back. It's really important networking time for them. So for that reason, you don't want to schedule at all during Monday, Tuesday lunch breaks. However, Wednesday does not have a protected lunch break, so you can schedule straight through 8 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday. So that's nice to know when you're scheduling. But depending on the day, that's going to allow you to schedule 14 papers or 30 rapids in the morning, 9 papers or 20 rapids in the afternoon. You want to be really efficient, make full use of each morning or afternoon, fitting in as many papers into the sessions as you can, just super packed, super efficient. Poster session hours. There will be a cash bar and therefore higher traffic flow during the poster hours. So posters are Monday, Tuesday, 4 to 6. And then on Wednesday, 2:30 to 4:30, you want to be sure to balance your posters equally over all 3 days. That way you're controlling the flow of the posters and no one else has to do that for you. So we do need to balance those equally over all 3 days. Most helpful tips that I can give you. You want to go ahead and get started once the system opens. The system is now open. So you have those couple weeks. You want to get started on it now. It's not that it's rocket science. It's not difficult to do scheduling. It's just that it takes longer than you would think it does. You'll run into a snag, or you'll run into someone else who has a session. You're like, wow, my people would love that. But right now we're scheduled over each other. I wonder if we could schedule off of each other. And you're reaching out to different people. You're waiting for them to get back to you. They've got to check with someone else. So again, it's not that it's hard. It just takes a bit more time. So don't wait to like a couple days beforehand. You'll drive yourself crazy. Balance your sessions over all 3 days. Now, this far and away is the #1 tip I can give you. Balancing your sessions equally over all 3 days helps the planning committee honor your requested scheduling. They have to physically balance over 400 oral sessions, over 500 sessions total, over, it's within 60 meeting rooms over the course of 3.5 days in the convention center rooms, the headquarter hotel rooms. And so, no big secret here. Everybody likes to front load, right? Like everybody wants their sessions on Monday and Tuesday. The problem is there's just physically not enough rooms to run that many sessions on Monday and Tuesday. So if the planning committee runs into that problem and they're like, well, we got to move something, then they'll go into your sub program. And if you balance it equally over all 3 days, they'll be like, oh, bless you, wonderful. And they'll leave your program alone because you did what they asked you to do. If they go in there and they're like, everything's on Monday and Tuesday, then they have to start moving things to Wednesday. The problem with that is you created a flow. There was a logic to this session becomes before this one, which flows into that one. And so moving things to Wednesday then breaks that flow. They don't want to do that. You don't want that to happen. So it's best to just control your concept, your flow, your content from the beginning and balance it equally over all 3 days. Okay. Again, that's my biggest tip I can give you. Other tips, we talked about this already. Don't schedule over Monday and Tuesday lunch breaks, but the Wednesday lunch break is not protected, so that's good to know. You can create additional sessions if you are bleeding into lunch or into dinner time. You can create those additional sessions, Roman numeral 2, 3, 4, however many you need. Start in the morning, break for lunch. Roman numeral 2 after that. Start the next day with Roman numeral 3, however many you need. That's a good way to balance any overflow that you might have. You can transfer oral presentations to poster when the data or the findings in the abstracts are TBD or missing. If you find that you're just having too many orals or the orals in there are not quite the quality that you're looking for, it's fine to transfer them to another session or make them posters. You don't have to reach out to the presenting author to ask them if it's okay. When they first initiate that, they sign off on, I want it to be in the session, I want it to be this format, but I realized that the organizer may need to change it to something else. So they're already aware of that. You don't need their permission. You can transfer them to poster or other sessions. The planning committee will note oral sessions that are less than an hour long and combine them with other similar oral sessions or transfer to poster. And so again, this is better if you control that content. If you see something that's only 2 or 3 presentations and it's not going to equal an hour, feel free to go ahead and put those where you want them to be. That way you're controlling the flow of the program. Symposia sessions, we touched on this a little bit. They can be no longer than 2 hours max from start to finish, but that's strictly symposia. Regular topical orals don't have that time restriction. Oh yes, and then there's always an exception to every rule. So how I was talking about, please make sure you balance equally. You want to schedule your student competitions, however, on Monday and Tuesday. You do want to front load your student competition sessions. That allows your judges time to tabulate and announce those winners at the Wednesday business meetings, which of course your judges will love you for. So do make sure that you're front loading those. Sometimes people ask me, how do I know if all of the presenting authors are competing in my session? Because it is common to have some presenting authors want to be in a session, but they're not competing. Any of those that have said, yes, I do want to compete, will have a little check mark next to their name in your arrange view when you're looking at it. So if you're looking at your session and you're like, that person right there, I really feel like they should be competing. Feel free to reach out to them and just say, hey, if you want, you can still change that. And then they can go into their abstract, they can go to their title step and just click from no to yes that they want to compete. And as soon as they save that little check mark will show up in your arrange view as well. Schedule rapid sessions as oral sessions. So if you noticed today, when we created our rapid session, I didn't talk at all about the poster component, and that is correct. When you're scheduling your rapid sessions, just go ahead and do it as an oral and don't worry about the poster at all. I'm going to be working with Convex on the back end to clone the poster aspect of those presentations for later that same afternoon. So how that works is that person will get up, they'll be like, hey, this is my 5-minute hook, my 5-minute commercial. And if you're interested in my research, please come see me later this afternoon in the exhibit hall, poster number 1946. But I will take care of that poster aspect with Convex on the back end. You don't need to worry about that. All right. Don't schedule the virtual sessions in your program. The reason for that is the content for virtual sessions is completely on demand. There's nothing that's happening live. So if you were to give it a date and time, people are going to click on it expecting some sort of live component. And there's nothing there. It's super confusing for them. So really all you need to do is accept the abstracts in that virtual session and move on. We already talked about Zoom broadcasting. It's $300 per session and it has to be ordered by October 1st. All right, important meeting scheduling dates for the process that you're doing right now. You have until July 15th to do your scheduling requests. Again, please don't wait until July 13th. You will be pulling your hair out, and it's a hard deadline for July 15th. Everybody gets locked out on July 16th as we move straight into the finalizing process. So you do want to go ahead and get started. You do have a hard time on July 15th. Sorry, hard deadline on July 15th. The ACS 732 program finalizing meeting will be on August 19th. You're not a part of that meeting, but if you can be available by phone that day, that's very helpful for the program chair. If they run into a particular difficult snag, they might give you a call and just say, hey, we're thinking about moving this session here, or maybe possibly this session there. Do you have a preference on that? Would that be a problem? And so if you are available by phone that day, that's really helpful for them. And then we will have a finalized schedule. And I will reach out to all authors in early September saying, hey, congratulations, your abstract was accepted, your date and your time are this and that, and you can now go ahead and make your travel plans. So that is how that works. Final reminders, yes, invited speakers. This is a very narrow definition. It's just the non-member invited symposia speakers that will be sent a discount code for waived registration. If your invited speakers are a member of any one of the societies, they will need to register on their own. There are no comp regs for member invited speakers. It's just specifically the non-member invited symposia speakers. And again, that code will be sent to them from me. I will reach out with them to them directly. And then final reminder, as far as AV, food and beverage, room set, if you require any specific logistical needs, please include that while scheduling your session in that logistics tab. Sam is great at stretching your dollars, and she'll be in contact with you to make those final arrangements. And that's kind of it for the tips. So thank you for hanging in there through quite a bit of content. Let's go ahead and open this session for questions. And during this time, please use the hand raising icon to indicate you have a question. We have a lot of people on the call, and unmuting attendees one at a time will help reduce any static or unwanted background noise. So do we have any questions at this time? Take a look here. All right, Chrissy, I see Chrissy has a question.
Hey, thanks for the presentation. It said that the oral sessions could start being scheduled at 8.
Yes.
But in the past, C5 has started scheduling them as early as 7:30, depending on how many abstracts we have. Is that allowed again?
It is
Or?
allowed, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Generally, we just need to let the property know that. And so if you are scheduling
Okay.
it that way, it's okay. What we've mostly found is when we get before 7:30 or 7:45, that's when people they just don't roll out of bed. They don't
Right.
attend.
Totally.
But you can do that if you need to back it up before 8.
Okay, yeah, I noticed 2 of our oral sessions have 24 abstracts in there,
Mhm.
and so
Okay.
if all of them are correct, it would be, like, 1 over the number you said could make it in.
Yeah, yeah, and that would be fine if you wanted to start
Okay,
at 7:30 or 7:45. If it's before that, then maybe you would want to think about breaking it into 2
right.
sessions. Yeah,
Okay. Alright,
yeah,
thank you. I have
absolutely.
one more question.
Sure.
Um, For the Sunday keynote, is a non-negotiable time? You have to
Correct.
have your sessions in by 5.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Eric, did you have one?
Yes, I do have one question. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was um, very nice of you to prepare that for us. So my question, it's almost related to the question before. Let's say we have too many abstracts in our section, and some of these abstracts, they can be transferred to another section, as you mentioned before. So I get that we need to contact the organizer, but do we need to contact the presenters as well if you are planning on transferring their abstract?
The presenters, no, they signed off on that. Like they obviously want to be in that session or in that format, but they signed off that they know that you may have to change that to a different session or a different format. So it's good if you're working outside your program to let that other organizer know, but you don't need to reach out to the presenters themselves.
Okay, so I do have another quick question. Um, so after we accept the abstract, let's say we did accept all the abstracts, and then we reorganize them. Okay,
Mhm.
so when are the presenters getting the final notice, like about their presentation time? Let's say if uh, we need to make some changes in the order or something like that. When it's the deadline to actually have the final order of the presenters in that section.
Right. So you will have the ability to control that through the 15th. But then when we go into the finalizing process, that's all kind of starts to get locked down. So it'll be early September when I reach out to them and say, this is your final time. But we won't really be changing it after that.
Okay, so July 15th. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Deirdre?
Yeah, I was wondering if we are able to have virtual presenters over Zoom if we have a symposium and an invited speaker that's not able to be there in person.
Yes, yes. That would be the one where you may have to pay $300 to activate that. And then you would have your own in-person moderator to kind of shepherd that on site. But yes, you can pipe people in, you can broadcast them out, or both within the same session. It's just that one flat $300 fee to broadcast within the platform.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just virtual attendees, but that we could have speakers too.
Yeah, no,
Thanks.
you can do both. Jessica?
I have a question about the poster presentation. So it looks like we need to order those how we want them ordered. Is there a limit to the number that you can have in a session? Like, is there some point at which we'd have to break it into like poster 1 and poster 2?
Oh, no. So if because they just run smushed together in the exhibit hall, you don't need to do that. It would be only if you're putting them on different days, then you could break them into poster 1, poster 2. But there's no, because each presentation is the full 2 hours. Does that make sense that you don't need to do that?
No, that makes sense. Just
Okay.
wanted to make it was more of a space question, but okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely. You. Louis?
Yep. I have a couple of questions. The first one is, if I already kind of confirmed my session, will this be visible to other people organizing their session in terms of conflict? Or right now nothing conflicts because nothing is confirmed?
Right. Like right now, you'll run into very few conflicts because nobody has scheduled their sessions. As you're working through the couple weeks, as more and more people start, when they finish that scheduling dialog box that pops up, that's when you'll start to see conflicts when you click that.
Okay, great. So this is a little bit of an incentive to do it early.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another good incentive to start now.
Okay. Other question, a little bit more tricky. I had invited 6 speakers. One of them did not realize they had to submit an abstract. So yesterday when I looked into the system, I saw like, oh, that person is missing. So I reached out and they were like, oh crap, man, can I still upload it? So
Gotcha. Yeah, go ahead and just send me an email on that. I can create a placeholder for an invited symposia speaker, and then we can get them logged into that.
okay, perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
easy. Thank you very much.
Lisa?
Hi, yeah, I just had a quick question. So one of my abstracts has NA for the title and the abstract. Should I reach out to those authors, see if they want to update it a little bit, or like, what's the sort of policy on that one?
So they're presentations that have kind of placeholder titles, is that correct?
There's no, it just says NA. There's no title, no, in the abstract just says NA.
Yeah, I mean, that might be if you have the time to reach out to them, you certainly could.
Okay.
But otherwise, that might be a good candidate to be pushed to poster if they weren't able to get kind of even the basic info to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Lakesh?
Hi, Nate. Thanks for the presentation. My question is on the business meeting. For the agronomy production system, we have so many communities. And so how I should allocate the time for each community leader, like 10 minutes per community or 15, because they need to announce the winners for the oral and poster sessions, right? So
yeah, I think you're going to have a longer one. You can look at last year's platform, or just send me an email and we can look at it together just to see how long Kulbashan did that for. And you might want to reach out to Kulbashan and just be like, hey, how did you do this last year? And that's probably the best way to know strategically, because you're right, you just have so many communities within your section.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Guillermo?
Hey, yeah, thank you for the training. It was pretty interesting. My question is that other years when we moderate, we find out that at least in the C3 division there were 2 or 3 shows. And one way that we can maybe try to tackle that is by reviewing the abstract. You mentioned today that whoever doesn't have a developed abstract or the ones that are saying pending data, sending that to a poster. What is how much we can do about that? I mean, particularly one of our sessions also has like close to 30 submissions, and we have 2 sessions, but we will need to pass some of them to posters. Will be a good strategy to switch to posters, the one that are not, that we see that the abstract is not developed or things like that.
Yeah,
some advice on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfectly acceptable strategy and probably what I would do. Yeah, if it's something that they haven't even given you content, it's probably a good candidate to push them to poster right now, because that could be indicative of their ability to get it filled out later. They may not. So then you're right, you're just stuck with kind of this hole in the middle of your oral. So better to shift that now.
And the last question related to that, I know that at least some divisions are putting like if you don't have at least 2 years of data or multiple sites, don't sign up for an oral. Is that something that can be done? I mean, I know that one session in the Crop Society did it. Is something that we can use as well to move session.
Yes, absolutely.
Abstracts from oral to poster or things like that?
Yeah. If you know of a submission and you're like, that did not have more than 1 year, you can feel free to push that to poster as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Shruti?
Hi, Nate. One thing I would like to do when scheduling my sessions is to avoid overlap with similar sessions as much as possible. Do you have any tips for doing that?
Are there any sections, divisions, or communities that you're particularly worried about?
Yeah, there are similar sessions like
Yeah.
I'm in C2, so like C1, C3, those will be like similar.
Right, right. Well, one strategy would be to just go ahead and do what you want to do and then reach out to them and say, take a look at my preliminary program. Because when you look at the preliminary program, anything that you've scheduled will show up. It takes a little bit to refresh, but then it'll show up. And then other people can look at that. And then, C1 can be like, ooh, I like that, but could we move that? And if you're preemptive about this is what I'm thinking, what are you all thinking? That's a much better way than trying to get around those 400 plus oral sessions. It's a lot.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Another question, when I schedule my sessions, at this point, could I just add probably my name as the moderator for all my sessions and then later change that as needed?
Yes, you can do that. It's just you will be locked out on the 16th. So if you find that out later, you just need to pop me an email and say, hey, can you change it to this person instead?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a deadline to finalize the moderators?
Yeah, that would be the 16th, or the 15th would be when you would want to try to finalize it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Jen, you?
Hey, I have 2 points. So yesterday, well, I work for USDA. Yesterday, when I submit abstract for oral presentation, it asked me to pay. And right now, we are not got approval for the travel. We cannot make a payment. And also USDA, this year, the travel is so difficult. We have to have a oral presentation as the mandatory requirement. So I wonder whether that payment can be delayed or not for different sessions.
Can you write me an email on that, and then we can look through the session and see if there's anything that we can do?
Sure, I can write the email to you for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can research that a little bit further. Yeah.
And yeah, so we submit approval. If we don't have a oral presentation, we will not get approval.
Right. You have
yeah.
to present in order to go. Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Jensen?
Thank you, Nate, for hosting this training session, which is very helpful. So I have a question regarding the regular topic oral session. Should I accept all abstracts submitted to my session? Or, I noticed probably we have more than 60 submissions. So what advice you have?
Yeah, we don't reject any abstracts, but if it doesn't fit, or if you need to break them into additional sessions, by all means, feel free to do that. And if you're like, wow, this is overwhelming, just shoot me an email on that, and we can look for strategies on places to submit them or transfer them to, or maybe just create some additional sessions.
Or can we just convert those submissions from oral request to post the session like that?
Yeah, you can do that as well. Yes.
But if we do this, we need to contact the one who submitted the abstract or not?
No, you don't need to. You won't need to reach out to the presenting authors. They're aware that you could change it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Clay?
Yes. I may have been sleeping, but when we're going in to schedule the poster session and it asks you for times, how do we march or how do we do that for the times on the posters? Because it's standard, right? Essentially.
Yeah. So Monday, Tuesday, 4 to 6 p.m. and then on Wednesday, 2:30 to 4:30.
Okay, so that's the only times we need to put in.
Yeah. You don't want to put it on other times because then you'll have poster presenters standing out there at 10 a.m.
Right.
and no one is walking through the hall. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that was what we were after there for the presenting time. Great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Shanyu, did you have another question?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries, no worries. Any other questions? Okay.
Hey,
Well,
Nathan, can you hear me?
yeah, gotcha.
Sorry, this is Ryan Hodges.
Yeah.
I'm also with the USDA, but with the NRCS. But I'm gonna probably reach out to you with a similar USDA question on payment,
Mhm.
if that's okay,
Yeah, no,
like
that's
delayed payment.
right. Yeah, just send me
I
an
ended up
email.
just okay, perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Clay, did you have another question?
Yes, when you tell it you want to schedule your poster session, give it a time, it says, what's your estimated attendance? How do we run that? Just
You can just put in 0 or 25, whatever you like. It doesn't really matter because it's at the exhibit hall. That's just a limitation of the Convex
all right,
pop-up.
thanks.
Yeah, good question, good question. All right. Any other questions? Eric?
No, I don't have any other question.
No?
Maybe it's
Oh,
just
okay.
my
Gotcha.
hand's still raised. I don't know.
No worries, no
I don't.
worries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Looks like we may still have one from Zhenyu, or maybe not.
No, I saw that lower down. Sorry.
Okay, no
I
worries, no worries. Yeah. Okay. One more chance for questions? All right. Well, great questions. I'd like to thank you once again for attending today's webinar. This session has been recorded and it will be available to you shortly, but in the meantime, have a great rest of your afternoon. Thanks a lot, everyone.